بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. I think it's very important to speak about student loans. It's a question that I'm been receiving, and I'm sure many other ulama have been receiving this over and over again, and there's been a lot of reaction to it because it's a need of the time. You know, we've got many youngsters, many young people who want to go and study because studying is something good. We need professionals in this country, and we can't discount that fact. You know, I would really encourage that those who have the ability to study, they should do, because and do it with the right intention. However, the question is about funding. I mean, the pricing or the fees went up from about 3,000 or 4,000 to 9,000, which is exorbitant. It's essentially, it puts it beyond many people's means, and that's why we definitely need to try to have that changed in some way or the other. But while it is the way it is, the current system, which I've actually clarified with two great scholars, one is the Mufti of one is my teacher, the Mufti in Saharanpur. I talked to him about it, and we couldn't find any permissibility, because at the end of the day, you're entering into a contract which is made between yourself and the funding body, whoever that is, that as soon as you take that loan, although you will be paid to the university and you can't take it and just spend it as you want, it has to go to the university. It's still you're assuming the liability for it. So to say that it's just going directly to somebody else, right? What are you signing off on at the end of the day? So you have to realize that there is this issue here that you're the one who's assuming liability for it, because eventually you're the one who's going to have to pay it. So you can't circumvent that problem. So you're assuming it. The interest starts straight away. Although you don't have to pay it, but it starts accruing straight away. So one of the strategies that I had thought about was that in the years that you need to take the loan, of 3 years or 4 years of your study, in that time work and save up money and everything like that, and then as soon as you finish, before the interest kicks in, you can pay it off. But then I realized that no, the actual interest starts accruing straight away, even though you don't have to pay it. Now they do say that you're not going to pay it until you start making 21,000. So I've had questions from people who say, I don't want a job afterwards, I'm just doing this for the knowledge. So my thing is that, why are you putting yourself into this kind of a bind? Because you have to realize that there's many other diploma courses and other courses that are much cheaper, $1,000, £1,000, £1,500, etc., etc., that will teach you things. And there's other ways of learning. In fact, there's many free ways of learning. Now universities are going online. Many universities gone online. Even UK recently, they've launched online, and those classes are actually for free. So if it's just for education, you've got many other places. Khan Academy at some level. There's many others as well that you can go and get free education. There's a lot of education out there that's for free nowadays, right? So for you to put yourself into this kind of a bind and assume this liability. Firstly, I can't understand why somebody's going to go into this and say, I'm not going to work. If you're going to go to study, I'm assuming that you want to make more money. That's why. Otherwise, you can get any kind of menial job, right? So why would you go to study and then not want to work afterwards? What happens if you had to work? If you're forced to work, then you'd be forced to pay the interest as well. So you're still assuming that responsibility. At the end of the day, the problem here, the difficulty here, is the fact that it's interest. And the two things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not just called haram, or not just called accursed, and not just said it's bad, but has actually said that He declares war against, and one of them is interest, and the other one is to trouble one of the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if Allah has gone to this level to explain this, then you can imagine how far away we need to be from this. That's why I have to be passionate about this, because that's what it is. And I have to just say, no, the other person, I clarified this, and this was with Mufti Taqi Uthmani when he came 2 years ago. Right, and we were sitting in Leicester, and there were a number of other muftis there. Mufti Muhammad ibn Adam was there, Al-Kawthari, Mufti Zubair Butt was there from Bradford, and there were a number of other ulama there. I believe Maulana Abdur-Rahim Limbarasa, my teacher, was there as well, and I asked him this question. He said, no, it's not permissible. Right? So I'm not saying this on my own behalf. However, then we did learn from Mufti Zubair, he did say, and recently there's been this poll that's going around where there are some lobbies that are Muslims that are trying to lobby the government for a system that will be conducive to Islamic finance, the halal way of doing things. So there is this poll on right now, right, which we should definitely take part in. Now, having said that, right now, if somebody wants to go to university and somebody's already done it, they need to make tawbah. right? Those people who are considering, I'm going to tell you it's haram because I can't give you a fatwa of permissibility and assume that responsibility. So what should you do? I mean, we need to find a way out of this. So until the government, hopefully, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them change their model. But until that happens, what do you do? Well, essentially, you borrow from others, right? You borrow from others. Number two, you would be liable for zakat. You will be entitled to zakat, because if you don't have any money, you don't have enough money to spend, you don't have enough money to pay, right? Which means that whatever amount of money you have, it has to go towards it, and you're zero, you're in debt for the rest of the fees because you have to give them in installments, then you are liable for zakat. So you can accept zakat money if you are entitled to zakat. And I think as a community as a whole, and I've mentioned this on Eid Day as well, we're sending huge amounts of money, our zakat, lillah and other funds, we're sending contributions to other countries. And I think we need to start working at home. I really think we need to start working at home, because yes, it's good to help people in other places as well that maybe not as well off as us and that need things. But at the end of the day, this is for the survival of the Muslims and for them to increase their heritage in this country and to have professionalism and professionals and academics in this country. It's very important as well. So I think as a Muslim community, we need to think about this. We need to have scholarship programs. There's a lot of money in this country, right? And the government gives a good 25% gift aid contribution as well. That means every £100 that somebody's giving, they're getting 125. Their charity is going to get 125. That means if they're receiving £1,000, they're going to end up with 1,250. That means on every £4,000 that they're receiving, they're getting an extra £1,000. So for every 4,000, they're receiving 5,000. That's amazing, right? In America, it's different. In America, the person who is giving, he gets that much back according to how much taxes he pays. So if you pay 20% tax in America and you give a contribution to a charity, you get 20% back, not the charity. But in England, the charity gets it. So the charity is laughing all the way. So we need to really, really strategize in this regard and really be thinking about our people at home, right? And yes, we can still send, help others out there, but we need to help our people. We need to set it up because we owe it to us and especially to our children and grandchildren that we need to set up this kind of thing so we can have decent, sufficient professionals in this country who go and study. This is not just for universities. We've got alim courses, training to make people imams and ulama. There's students in these programs who don't have the money. They have to literally go by contributions. So we have this issue in this country. Don't think there's no poverty in this country. There is. Just because we got a bit of disposable income where we get our daily bread, it means we got everything. We don't. We need to really think about this. So make lots of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah bring about a change in the system. We need to lobby for it, because until we don't, nobody's going to speak on our behalf. Number one. Number two, get loans from your family and friends and then work. And number three, zakat. That's what zakat is for. You're poor, you can accept zakat. That's what it is. Take the money from the rich, give it to the poor. And we as a community need to be concerned about that, about trying to set up some kind of scholarship fund. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a tawfiq wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.